Hey guys, I've put together a few videos that will give you a good explanation and demonstrations of how to properly set screens and then take advantage of them. As you'll hear in the first video, it's very common to set ball screens for whoever has the ball. The other type of screen is obviously for someone who doesn't have the ball, sometimes called screening away or off the ball screens. Screening away from the ball can easily be done in the current motion offense we run. Instead of always cutting through the lane after you've passed the ball to a wing player, you simply screen to the player in the opposite direction. If these are done well, it should open up a lot more offensive opportunities for us to get some open shots. The other two videos at the end are brief collections of back cut and pick and roll plays, so you can see what they look like in game situations. When done properly, these can also be very effective ways to get easy baskets, and we definitely have the type of players that can execute them in a variety of situations. Another good thing about ball screens and back cuts is that you can do them at any time. You don't need to call out a play, you just need to look for the right opportunity and get into the habit of moving without the ball. As you're watching these videos, visualize yourself in those situations, executing the screens, taking advantage of them, making the pass, or making a backdoor cut. Watch how the players make their moves, how they set up their defenders, and visualize yourself doing the same thing. They won't work every time, but the more you do them in a game, the better you'll get, and you'll learn how to make them more effective.
All right, so probably the most important part of team offense is learning how to set screens. Okay, and there's two different types of screens that you set. And what you'll find at the youth levels, and even sometimes at the high school levels, you have a lot of coaches yelling, set a screen, set a screen. And what they'll do is they'll run to the ball and try to set a ball screen. Okay, what we want to focus on right now is a screen that takes place away from the ball. So right now you see Nick has the ball, and he would pass, if he passed it to Brian on the wing, we would ask him to set a screen away for the guy away from it. This would be an off-the-ball screen. So part of the fundamentals of this is Nick makes the pass to Brian. Okay, there's two parts of having a good screen. One is Nick is our screener. Okay, so we tell Nick it's your job to try to go make contact with Nolan Clagg, who's in the blue right now. Okay, Josh is just as important. Josh is on Nick's team, and he's the guy we're trying to get open for a shot. So in order for Josh to get open, he needs to wait for a screen. He can't start running early, or else Nick will be in foul trouble, and I'll be yelling at Nick from the bench, he didn't set a good screen. But Josh is actually the one that left early and made him in a bad position. So Nick passes to Brian. Well, a way to wait for the screen is to take the person away from where you want to go. So Josh knows he wants to either catch it at the top of the key or he wants to curl it in for a layup. So he's going to take someone away, a step or two away from where he wants to go, which will drag his defender lower. Nick comes in, sets himself in a great position, protects himself. Now, if Josh were down here, he's going to want to come off nice and tight to the screen. Okay, so come back. If you come over here, we'll show you the angle. Nick, come on, set the screen. Now freeze Josh. Okay, he comes off. What we tell our guys is try to grab the elbow of the screener that you're setting. That way you know they're coming off tight, and there's no way that Nolan can get in here. The biggest mistake people will make is they'll come out wide, and that leaves a spot for Nolan to be able to slip right through here. Okay, so Josh needs to come off the screen aggressively, grab Nick's elbow, and he has to read what Nolan does. So let's watch a good screen right now. So Nick passed to Brian, Josh set it up, and we'll watch it full speed.
Brian. All right, come on, Tool. Screen. Full.
Excellent job. Okay, and it's very difficult for Nolan to guard that if we set a very good screen. And Nick did a great job of sprinting over. You saw them talking to each other. Now you saw how Nolan defended that screen. Nick passed it to Brian. Josh did a good job taking him away. And when Nick came over here, there's two ways the defense will guard this freeze. Okay? Nolan can either trail behind, okay, which in that case is what happened last time. Josh would curl back to the hoop, and Nolan would be behind and we'd have a nice shot there. Okay? If Nolan were to try to sneak and cheat this way and beat Josh to that spot, okay, now we're going to go out away from the screen, maybe not that far, okay, would come more up to the top, and Nick would set it that way. So again, it's making Nolan have to travel the greater distance. Okay, so let's go over the top this time. Okay, Nolan's going to play it a different way, and we'll see how Josh reacts. We're we go.
Run. We're going tool. Josh, screen.
Good. Okay, good. And there it is. Okay, so we want to make body contact and get through. Now the last rule of screening, okay, so Josh does his job, he takes him away, he grabs the elbow, and he reads what his defender does. The screener now has to read what the user does. So if Josh curls to the hoop, okay, our rule is one goes to the basket and one goes to the ball. So if Josh curls it to the hoop, Nick's going to pop back to the ball. If Josh were to pop up high, Nick is going to slip into the rim. Okay, so let's go slow motion. Passes to Brian. Here comes Nick on the screen. Josh is going to curl because Nolan comes over. He curls. Now Nick opens up and flashes back to the ball as an option. And what you'll find is usually the screener, if he does a great job, will be more open sometimes than the person who's setting the screen for. Because if Nick does a great job, and we'll go slow motion. Okay. Nolan's coach is telling him, you got to make sure you can't let Josh get the ball. He's a good player. He's going to get a score. I'm going to help out. So here comes Nick with the pass. I'm on defense. Okay, I see Josh go to curl. I can't give him a layup. Freeze for a second. So as Nick's defender, I got to help Nolan and protect here so Josh doesn't have a layup. So if Nick reads that, go ahead, now keep coming. I'm helping. Nick pops back to the ball. He's actually going to be more open. So there's two parts to a great screen. All right, so let's watch that one more time in full speed, see how it looks.
Yeah, right. Screen, Josh, screen.
Contact. Pop. Ball. Good. Excellent job. Now let's do the other one. Okay, let's have Josh pop now, and Nick, you slip to the hoop for a layup. Okay,
Right.
set a good
We're
screen.
going tool screen, Josh.
Good screen. Slip. Good. Nice job. Okay, great work. Okay, now the next thing we'll do, Justin, come on out here. Okay, Justin will come out here. And in practice, what we'll do is we'll say we're going to do some 2-on-2 screening. All right, and we'll go live with this. So Justin's guarding Nick. Nolan's guarding Josh. Okay, and we work on screening. The key is Nick's got to make sure that he sets that screen good first before he does his secondary action. So he's setting a great screen. That's the #1 priority. And if he does a great job of hitting Nolan and making sure he has a tough job, he'll either be open or he'll be open. If he doesn't set a good screen, nobody's going to be open, and Nick and Josh are going to be on the bench. Okay? Here we go.
Right. We're going tool. Go on, screen.
Good. Excellent job. Good. Okay, not bad. Now let's switch it up. Nolan and Justin on offense. Nolan and Justin on offense. We'll see how they do.
Go, Rod. So, wait for
Oh. Nice job. Okay, good. So Nolan was open on a good screen by Justin. Okay? So we have the curl or the pop, and then the screener does the opposite. Good.
Let me show you how I prefer a screen to be set. I want to be able to come right up into the defensive man, and when I set the screen, I want my hands locked in front of my body. This keeps me from sticking an elbow up and drawing an offensive foul. Get my hands locked. So I'm right in here, and I'm not going to set a screen that results in an offensive foul. So as I set my screen, he has already set him up. Set him up just one more time. Come down. I set the screen. Now, #1, we may get him open, coming over the top. That's the first thing that can happen in a screen cut situation. The second thing that can happen is that as he starts over the top, this guy fights through and he back cuts. That's the second thing in a screen cut situation that can happen. The third thing that can happen is that when he starts over, the defensive man comes underneath and he pops back looking for the drive or the shot. So you've got three things: over the top of the screen, underneath the screen, and pop back from the screen. And then there's a fourth thing that I think is unbelievably important against switching defense. And the fourth thing is this. As I set the screen, I've set it in a good angle, and as he makes a cut over me, I see my man start to pick him up, and I simply slip and go to the basket. So anytime there's a down screen situation, you've got four possibilities. Let's go over those four possibilities again. As far as the cutter is concerned, the cutter can set him up low and come over the top. The cutter can set him up high, and as he fights through, he goes low. The third thing, the defensive man comes underneath the screen, and the cutter pops back quickly, looking for the drive or the shot. And the fourth thing, as the screener sets the screen, he sees a switch develop, and he cuts to the basket. So I don't think there's anything else in offensive basketball that gives you four options like the screen cut allows you to have. And that's the possibilities with the down screen.
Here, Long Beach State cannot make a shot. Their field goal percentage, whether inside the arc or outside, has been horrific. Very nice. Beautiful. Terrific set play.
Just starting to kind of feel comfortable offensively down in the post before he was injured.
And he was setting some mean screens as well. Well, there they go again. Lodwick.
SEC play, and just about everybody's at the halfway point now in conference play. The question becomes how many teams from the ACC will make it in. Beautiful play.
And Nolte cannot guard him down low. And James Michael McAdoo turns and faces. He can take anybody off the dribble.
He plays hard on both ends of the floor. That sequence to me shows me why he's a very special player. Plays both ends of the floor. Oh, what a cut! And the pound down!
Are almost 2-1, so that is not indicative of how they play. Nice backdoor cut.
Best defensive player in the conference. He's been guarding Liddell, but also you look at Liddell, he's 1 of 7, but he has 5 assists, so he's doing a nice job distributing the basketball.
In the midst of their slide, when they had lost 3 of 4, head coach Sean Miller had a talk with his point guard Drew Lavender and said, hey, I don't like the old Sean. I want to...
He's too close. That's on Samuels. You get too close, you catch an elbow, mistakenly, that's basketball. Backdoor cut, and there is...
Didn't guarantee themselves anything with that win over Duke. It's a good win, and now they have to keep winning.
Nice backdoor cut. Vera cut. Evans now. Approaching 5.5 to go. Nice pass to Farrah.
The pick and roll. It's the foundation of most NBA offenses, but few teams, if any, run it better than the Phoenix Suns. It all starts with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, two guys whose skills are perfectly suited to executing great pick and roll sets. What are those skills specifically? For Nash, it's his ball handling and ability to pass in traffic. Meanwhile, Stoudemire is incredibly agile, has soft hands, and is one of the game's most explosive finishers. The majority of the Suns' pick and rolls occur with Nash and Stoudemire in the middle of the floor. On this possession, Nash is able to work his way into the paint and launch one of those off-balance leaners with just the right touch. Now, here's Amari at work on the roll. He slips the screen and builds up a head of steam. Then Nash hits him on the move with a bounce pass between the two defenders. Basketball perfection. The Suns run slight variations of this middle pick and roll. Sometimes 3 shooters are spread out along the perimeter, and this gives Nash a bunch of options if the defense collapses on him. That kick out to Barbosa was instant gratification, but sometimes you can play really solid defense for most of a possession and still get burned by the fallout from the pick and roll. The Spurs have done a solid job here of packing the paint against both Nash and Stoudemire. Tony Parker's staying home on Grant Hill, and Nash doesn't have the best of angles to reach Jason Richardson or Channing Frye. Nash is able to get the ball over to Richardson on the wing, but Richard Jefferson closes promptly. The Spurs have only so many bodies on the floor, and that packed-in defense, it can't reach an open Frye quickly enough. Speaking of Channing Frye, really smart acquisition by the Suns. This pick and pop with Nash helped Frye drain 172 shots from beyond the arc this season. Nash will also vary the middle screen and roll with Stoudemire as a pick and pop. Watch how Amar'e sort of trails the play, lingering behind the scrum that's converging on Nash. This gets Stoudemire a wide open look at the top of the circle. We've seen a couple of sets where Phoenix has 3 shooters spread along the perimeter, but often they'll keep another body down low, and in this set, Grant Hill moves from the weak side to the ball side block, where Nash hits him with a pass. Hill is now situated at a perfect spot on the floor. He can deliver a little pass to a diving Stoudemire, or he can find any of the 3 shooters, Dudley, Nash, or Richardson. Because Manu Ginobili is cheating, Richardson is Hill's easiest target, and J. Rich drains the wide-open 3. Here's yet another variation of this set. But this time, Nash hits Stoudemire with the pass, then Amar'e sends the ball immediately to a diving Hill for a layup. Most of the Suns' pick and rolls occur at the top of the floor, but they'll also run a good number of them at an angle, and this does a couple of things. First, Nash is a nightmare to defend when he's driving along the baseline. Here he kisses the ball off the glass at close range. Take away the baseline, you say? Well, then Nash will burn you with his left-handed sling pass. See if you can guess which of the Suns' 3 perimeter options Nash will find through traffic. The nominees are Frye, Richardson, or Hill. If you said Richardson, you win something. He gets fouled behind the line by Ginobili and earns 3 attempts at the stripe. Here's virtually the exact same setup, but here Nash finds Richardson in the far corner with that left-handed pass. Splash. This angle pick and roll also works from the right side, often with baseline cutters meeting Nash at the basket. Here Dudley sneaks behind the Spurs defense and collects the bounce pass from Nash. It's not just Steve Nash exacting all the damage. Phoenix has a good second unit, and its quick guards, Goran Dragic and Leandro Barbosa, they're masters at finding mismatches with the pick and roll. Here's Barbosa breaking down Spurs big man DeJuan Blair after a little brush screen from Frye. Backs him out, then takes him in. Frye helps Dragic get the same mismatch against Blair with the same result. Back in the starting unit, Richardson loves to post up opposing point guards off the pick and roll. He wasn't able to do it all that successfully against the Spurs, but we should expect Richardson to try to exploit Derek Fisher in the conference finals. One of the things that makes the Suns so effective is their patience. Sometimes the pick and roll produces early results, but sometimes it takes a full possession to find a high percentage look. On this trip down court, the Suns will deploy 3 pick and rolls before they get what they want. It isn't until Stoudemire gives Nash a high screen up top with 6 left on the shot clock that Nash finds his open guy, Frye, who's lifted from the wing to the top of the arc. The Lakers are a tough defensive team with big men who can move their feet, and those big guys will have to if they want to avoid a 7-game shootout. Because if you let Nash and Stoudemire get into rhythm and the Suns shooters get hot, anything can happen.